She stood on the edge of my dock, waving a piece of paper in the air like it was the Constitution itself. "You can't stay here. This dock belongs to the HOA now. Pack up or I'll have you arrested." Her voice was sharp, loud enough for the whole lake to hear. I looked at her, calm, because deep down I knew something she didn't. The water shimmered behind her, and her shiny little speedboat floated right where she left it tied up, on my dock. I smiled, just a little, and said, "Funny, you're standing on my property yelling about rules you don't control." That wiped the grin off her face. She doubled down, jabbing the paper at me, shouting about fines, eviction, and police. But instead of arguing, I stepped past her and walked straight to her boat. "If I'm not allowed here," I said, untying the ropes, "then neither is this." Her eyes went wide as she realized what I was doing, but it was already too late. The current was mine to command.
She lunged toward me, trying to snatch the ropes back, but I pushed the boat just far enough so it drifted into the lake, out of her reach. "What the hell are you doing? That's my property!" she screamed, nearly tripping over her heels on the dock. I leaned against the railing, watching her panic, and said, "You just told me nobody's allowed to use this dock. Guess that includes your boat." Her face turned red, and she fumbled with her phone, yelling, "I'm calling the cops! You're stealing my boat!" The neighbors had started peeking out from their porches, whispering, recording with their phones. She didn't even notice. I kept my tone calm, almost amused. "Go ahead, call them. Let's see who they believe." That's when the real twist hit her, because while she was dialing, I pulled a folded deed from my back pocket, the official papers with my name printed bold. "Before you waste their time," I said, holding it up, "maybe you should check who actually owns this dock."
Her voice cracked when she saw the papers, but she tried to laugh it off. "Fake! Those are fake!" she stammered, though her hand shook so badly she almost dropped her phone. I walked closer, low enough for only her to hear. "These came straight from the county courthouse, stamped, signed, and filed. You're trespassing on my land, Karen." For the first time, she looked unsure, glancing at the crowd now circling closer. A few neighbors muttered, "He owns the dock? Wait, what?" The pressure was closing in on her, but instead of backing down, she snapped. "You think this scares me? My brother's on the board. I'll have you kicked out in an hour." She pointed at me like she was some sheriff of the lake. I didn't move, just smirked, then gestured to her boat, still drifting away. "Better tell your brother to hurry. By then your boat might be halfway to the other side of the lake." The neighbors chuckled under their breath, phones still rolling, and Karen's perfect little power act began to crack wide open. Her face twisted with fury, and she finally hit call on her phone. "Officer, I need you down here now! A man is stealing my boat and threatening me!" she shouted loud enough for everyone to hear. A hush fell over the crowd as she paced the dock, acting like she was the victim. I crossed my arms, calm as stone, and waited. Within minutes, the wail of sirens echoed down the road. Two deputies stepped out of their cruiser, hands resting near their belts, scanning the scene. Karen ran to them like a stage actress, pointing at me. "That's him! Arrest him! He stole my boat, and he's trespassing on HOA property!" The deputies exchanged a look, then one of them turned to me. I didn't say a word. Instead, I handed him the deed. He studied it for a moment, eyes narrowing, then turned to Karen. "Ma'am," he said slowly, "this document shows he owns the dock and everything tied to it." The crowd gasped, phones lifted higher. Karen froze in place, her mouth open, but no words came out. For the first time, she realized the trap she had walked straight into. Karen's voice wavered, desperate now. "No, this can't be right. The HOA owns this entire waterfront," she insisted. But the deputy shook his head. "The county records don't lie. This dock is private property. His property." The second deputy stepped closer,
lowering his voice, but loud enough for the neighbors to hear. "And by tying your boat here without permission, you're the one trespassing." The crowd erupted in whispers, some even laughing. One of the neighbors shouted, "Looks like Karen's HOA rules don't mean a thing now." Her hands trembled as she tried to defend herself, waving the fake notice she'd slapped on my door earlier. The deputy took it from her, examined it, and frowned. "This isn't even an official document. Did you print this off your home computer?" Karen's face drained of color. She stuttered, I was just enforcing the rules." I finally spoke, steady and sharp. "No, you were abusing them." The deputy turned to her, his tone firmer now. "Ma'am, impersonating authority and issuing false notices is a crime." The silence that followed was heavier than the summer air, and for once, Karen had nothing to say. Karen's bravado cracked like glass. She backed away from the deputies, her voice dropping to a nervous whisper. You don't understand. The HOA gave me the right to manage this dock." The taller deputy shook his head slowly. "The HOA has no jurisdiction here. This land deed overrides any claims they make." He lifted the fake notice again, this time holding it up for the neighbors' cameras. "This is evidence of fraud." Gasps rippled through the crowd and phones zoomed closer. Karen's carefully built reputation was crumbling in real time. I walked past her, calm, and whistled toward the lake. A buddy of mine, who happened to be the marina manager, was already steering his small patrol skiff toward her drifting boat. Within seconds, he roped it and brought it back under my dock. The crowd cheered as if it were a game won. I looked at Karen, my voice low but clear. "Funny thing about trying to evict me, you just gave me legal grounds to seize your boat for trespassing." The deputy didn't stop me. In fact, he nodded. "He's within his rights, ma'am. That vessel was illegally stored on his property." Karen's knees buckled, and for the first time, she looked small, powerless, on the very dock she tried to claim.
Karen's mask finally shattered. She dropped her phone, eyes darting around as every neighbor kept filming. "This isn't fair! You can't do this to me!" she screamed. But the deputies didn't flinch. One of them clipped a set of cuffs from his belt. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespassing, filing false reports, and impersonating authority." The crowd broke into cheers, some even clapping as she was forced to turn around. As they led her away, she kept shouting about her powerful friends on the HOA board, but it only made her look weaker. I picked up the deed and faced the cameras. "This dock has been in my family for 3 generations. No fake rules or loud voices will ever change that." The words spread through the crowd like fire. Some neighbors even chanted, "Property rights," with their fist raised. The real twist? Just as Karen was shoved into the cruiser, the marina manager handed me her boat keys. "County says abandoned property left on private land can be seized," he said with a grin. I held the keys up for everyone to see. "Looks like Karen just donated a boat to the man she tried to evict." The cruiser pulled away, Karen screaming in the back seat, while the lake shimmered golden under the setting sun. I stood tall on my dock, the cheers of my neighbors behind me, and thought, I didn't fight for this land to let anyone take it from me. That dock was mine, and now, so was her boat.